Good morning, Soraya.
Hey, Jeff.
Can you believe we're at episode 150?
I can't. Can I just share a little anecdote? So, what comes up the other day on my Facebook memories was you and I touting our episode number 5.
Ah.
Oh, that feels like so long ago.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's really nice to know that we're at episode 150 and still going strong. And I think today's episode is a really nice way to usher in the next 50. So, do you want to let our listeners know what we're doing today?
Absolutely. So here we are, a couple days before Halloween, a few days before Dia de los Muertos, right? And we have an album that, at least in as far as the cover goes, is very applicable to this holiday, I'd say. So for those watching, and you can see my screen, I'm showing a picture of the Action Skulls Angels Here album with some skulls on the album very appropriately. So to me, it sort of looks like it could be a Dia de los Muertos kind of.
100%.
And we'll talk about this image and the album coming up shortly. But continuing our series of Paisley Underground guitarists side projects. So we did Louis Gutierrez last week and his project with Mary's Danish. Today we're talking about one of Vicky Peterson's many side projects, her most current project, Action Skull. So we're going to be talking about their debut album, Angels Here, today.
Awesome. Let's get started.
Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff,
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme.
a podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, a grooviar.
Let's get groovy.
So it's Angels Here, and you corrected me because I wrote it down as Angels Here, and it's Hear. So the angels are listening to us, Soraya.
Either way, it works.
So this album was released September 20th, 2017. I think the band released it themselves. It came out on CD Baby, so the band released it themselves. We should talk a little bit about who's in this band besides Vicky Peterson.
Well, of course, the great Vicky Peterson.
Yes.
Can I call him Bill? Bill?
Yeah.
And not Billy Mummy? And John Cowsill.
Yes. Vicky's husband and
Yes.
drummer of Cowsills, and he's playing with the Beach Boys, or he was playing with the Beach Boys with the version with Mike Love, the
Right.
20th version. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So Soraya, I may be wrong about this, but I believe you and I and Chris shared an elevator with Bill Mummy after a Wild Honey event in a parking structure, I think, or something. We did. Okay. All right.
did.
My memory is correct.
We did.
So obviously we're very close to Bill. I mean, we could
We talk all the time.
So for those who don't know who Bill Mummy is, he in addition to being a musician, he's released a handful of solo albums. He was also an actor, right? And starred in Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. Yeah.
He was Will, right? Was that his character's name? I think his character's name.
Yes.
Will.
Yes.
And he was also half of Barnes and Barnes, if you remember that band. That might be a regional thing. Fish Heads was a song
I don't think it's regional because
No?
Dr. Demento was nationwide.
Oh, was it nationwide? Okay.
Yeah.
So for those who remember Fish Heads, Roly Poly Fish Heads.
Only fish heads.
That's this Bill Mummy. And I did want to mention something about John Cowsill, Vicky's husband. You may or may not know this, Soraya, but he played on Tommy Two-Tone's 8675309 as a percussionist and backing vocalist. So when you hear 8675309, John Cowsill's in that. I
didn't know that, but I love that little detail.
Yes. And then we should also mention that there was a fourth member of the band when the band started, Rick Rosas, who this album is dedicated to. Rick was the bass player, and he played with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Neil Young solo stuff, Buffalo Springfield, that whole Crazy Horse, Joe Walsh, Ron Wood, a few different people, and he was part of the band, and he ended up passing in 2014. So I did want to talk a little bit about how the project got going before we jump into it. They started when they were at a Christmas party. It was Vicky, John, and Bill, our buddy Bill. They at Angela Cartwright's house. So she was one of Bill's
Co-stars.
co-stars in Lost in Space.
Yeah, they were the kids on Lost.
Yeah, the little ones. So I guess they were singing around a piano, right? The three of them, and it clicked, and they knew they were onto something. So the three of them decided that they were gonna start recording some tracks, right?
I love the stories like that where it's just kind of very happenstance, very organic, and just kind of, hey, you sound pretty good. We should put something down. Okay. I love stories like that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so it's so organic, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. They ended up going into a studio. They went into a studio called Ready Mix Music Studio, and I was reading that studio is where Jackson Brown, Little Feat, your buddy Warren Zevon recorded there. So pretty cool studio. They liked how that studio sounded, so they wanted to get in there and record tracks.
Yeah.
I think I read that they recorded 8 of these 11 tracks with the 4 of them, and then they took a break and they all did their thing, went on tour with their projects. The Vicky with Bangles, and John doing Beach Boys stuff, and and then unfortunately Rick passed away, their bass player, and they didn't know what they were going to do after that. But they decided to honor Rick by finishing the album and went back into the studio, recorded 3 more songs. And I got a little bit confused on this part when I was reading about it, because it's said for bass that Bill and John's son Will jumped in, and I said, wait, Bill and John are together?
Yeah, and you know what, folks, coming from a teacher, never underestimate the power of a comma.
Exactly. So Bill and John don't have a son together, but John has a son, Ewan.
Right.
And he steps in and plays bass, and Bill also plays bass.
Exactly. Yeah.
So here we are with 11 songs.
And for anyone who hasn't heard anything from Action Skulls, I like the sound of Action Skulls. It's a unique sound, and I think if anyone thinks, oh, what I'm gonna get is Bangles revisited, no,
wrong.
Very different influences available on this album, and I like their chemistry. It comes out really nicely on this album.
Agreed. Good point. Yeah, definitely not Bangles 2.0 by any.
No.
Yeah,
it's a different sound, and I appreciate that. And I think with, we already saw it with the first guitarist side project last week, Louis Gutierrez's work with Mary's Danish. Very different sound. Again, some of it very well captures that moment in time. This is different, because this band's sound, I think, it's not doing the same thing. I think it's very different.
I would agree totally.
All right, so how about we jump in?
All right,
Jeff, did you pick the lead-off track, or did I?
I did.
Yeah. So those of you betting folks, collect your monies.
Yeah. The payout will be low, because I think that's the odds on that are very high.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, and I will start off by saying, Jim Strong, if you're listening, you might want to log off because all 4 of our songs are more than 3 minutes, but um, a couple of them aren't too much over. So my first track, the lead off track, Mainstream, clocks in at 3:46. There's a couple things that I wanted to say about the song. First of all, this is by far my favorite song on the album, by a good mile. I was reading a couple things about the album and this particular song, and a writer, Rob Ross, also a musician, wrote, quote, "The quasi-psychedelic power pop of Mainstream could easily have been in league with the Paisley Underground, but has an up-tempo abandon that pushes it a little harder and is instantly impressive, an impressive way to open the album," which I totally agree. Another comment that I read on a YouTube video of this is that this reminds me of Arthur Lee in Love, says one Ben Oliveri, and I absolutely agree. The verse on this, it could easily be "Love Forever Changes," which you might recognize the melody, very close to "Love." Somebody else wrote, I thought was interesting on the YouTube video, Eric Wilder wrote, "Total Birds Bangles," the song, with SF Sorrow era "Pretty Things," with the harmonies, the mashup. Vicky's Roger McGuinn replication of the bridge vocal is perfect. Wonderful psych pop. So I think that
I can't argue with any of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So the song, the way that I take it is kind of a little dig about being part of the Mainstream, which all 4 musicians were a part of. So John Calso sings the lead vocal, Vicky sings the chorus primarily, and Bill and all of them are singing with each other with background vocals. Each chorus has a different dig on the Mainstream. A couple that I wrote down in the lyrics, "We're on the brink of the Mainstream. I never drink from the Mainstream. I'm gonna sink in the Mainstream. Later, we make a splash in the Mainstream. We count the cash in the Mainstream." And then the last note that I wrote, "Souls are sold in the Mainstream." So they've all experienced the Mainstream, but I think this is a little dig on it. But it's a very happy tune, very reminiscent of Love, and absolutely my favorite track. So we'll start with the leadoff track from Action Skulls Angels here. This is Mainstream.
Beautiful.
You see the river flowing through, the water's rising up to you. What you gonna do now?
On the brink of the mainstream, I never drink from the mainstream. I'm gonna sink in the mainstream.
You fight the current, fight the trend. Let go and ride it to the bend, all the way to the end.
In a boat on the mainstream, not gonna float in the mainstream. That's all she wrote in the mainstream.
Pirate on the deep blue sea, sailing off the edge into no man's eternity. That don't worry me.
Make a splash in the mainstream. Count the cash in the mainstream. They're smoking hash in the mainstream. Hand for gold in the mainstream. Souls are sold in the mainstream. You can't be
They didn't want to end the song.
No, see, they were having too much fun.
Yes. So Vicky told us that she was a huge fan of Rain Parade and Matt Piucci, and I can actually hear the influence of Rain Parade on this her guitar part.
Right.
The solo. Yeah, definitely has that Rain Parade kind of vibe. But this song is one of only two that were written by all three of them. So Bill Mumy actually wrote most of the songs on this album himself, but there's a couple collaborations. But this is one of two songs that written by all three of them.
Yeah.
Good way to start off the album, I'd say.
I think it's a great start. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Soraya, what did you have for us?
So my pick is a song called The Luckiest Man Alive. So before I hit into that and we listen to it, I just wanted to mention this one quote. So this is from a review of the same album of Angels Here by a man named David Bowling. And I say this because we already have a great example with Mainstream, and I think moving forward, our examples also show this. And it's about the harmonies. You know me, I'm a big old sucker for beautiful sounding harmonies. And this is a quote from this review. The harmonies are not only well crafted, but interesting. Their voices are very different, but they blend together well. Whether the style is laid back or energetic, the harmonies, which can be subtle or soaring, and remain the foundation of their sound. When you hear Mainstream, you're like, yeah, I'm here. And then when you hear other songs on the album that are really that really bring the pace down, you wonder, am I going to lose some of that? So my choice, Luckiest Man Alive. Let's listen, and then we'll talk about it a little more.
I've been traveling oh so far with two things on my mind. One, to get back to you, baby. Two, the other I forgot. 'Cause you look so good and you feel so fine, and I'm just so glad to know that you're mine. And though I have to go sometimes, you are always on my mind. Me strong, and you make me proud. When I feel your take my hand when you lay me down. Everything's alright. You bring me around, and though I have to go sometime, you were always on my mind. On my mind. I must be the luckiest man alive. I must be the luckiest man alive. I must be the luckiest man alive. I've been traveling oh so far with two things on my mind.
Two things on his mind, but one he doesn't even remember what it was.
But see, once I heard that that introduction part where it's like that dialogue between Bill and Vicky, you know, two things on my mind, and she just goes, one, you know, to get back to you, baby, two. I love that little snippet.
Yeah.
Put me, and I like the arrangement of this song because the topic is so poppy, you know, and then they gave us this great pop song, but then there's this grit that comes in that chorus. I must be the luckiest man alive. There's something a little different there, just a slight change up, and then they shift back. And once you hear that chorus and those glorious voices, you're like, yeah, this is why I'm here. These harmonies are so beautiful. And I go, how in the world did all of that just happen at a party where people are talking and you just go, oh, you know, this feels kind of good though. And then you get into a studio, you're like, hey, we actually sound really good too.
Yeah.
I like it.
Natural chemistry, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah. And we know that Vicky was very excited about this project. So
100%. Yeah.
All right. So my second pick is
Yes.
where the name of the album comes from. So in the lyrics, they mention angels here, but in the song, it's H-E-R-E, not H-E-A. They did a little twist on that. So the song that I picked is Map of the World. And I read where somebody posited, am I using that word right?
Sure.
That the song content could be about the fact that John and Vicky had to travel and following where her spouse was, where John was, just where, you know, where the love of her life could be somewhere in the map of the world. Writer Fred Mills wrote about the song that it has a very Laurel Canyon folk vibe. And I think Vicky said that herself as a whole, that this album has that Laurel Canyon vibe, or they were going for that, or ended up happening. Can't disagree with that. That's
no.
Part of the lyrics on this, which I think kind of backs up that theory on what the song says. And I don't know why. I believe you can't console me. It's got control of my life. It's a shame that I hit the trigger on a hidden trap. A circle on the map, on a map of the world. I drew a map with a line to trace your travels, but I get so lost. Every knot I tie unravels. I like the visual for that. Ooh, we're getting near, sailing close to the edge. There'll be angels here. They be angels here. So to me, this is again one of my favorite songs on the album. The only song that Vicky wrote solely by herself on this album.
Music and words.
This is a Vicky
by
track.
The great Vicky Peterson.
Yes. So so it's all Vicky here. with other two members of our band helping
Yes.
out a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is a Vicky track. Anyways, so let's listen to it. This is Map of the World.
I drew a map of the world without you in it. It's a lonely, lonely place, getting lonelier by the minute. Did I see you there, all alone and dancing in the park? Sweet summer air, fireflies are rising in near dark. Ooh, we're getting near, sailing close to the edge. There'll be angels here, baby, angels here. Watching satellites try to hide themselves among the stars, but they catch the light. Now I know exactly where they are. Ooh, we're getting near, sailing close to the edge. There'll be angels here, baby, angels here. And I don't know why I believe you can console me. It's got control of my life. It's a shame that I hit the trigger on a hidden trap, a circle on a map of the world. I drew a map with a line to trace your travels. I get so lost. Every knot I tie unravels. Ooh, we're getting near, sailing close to the edge. There'll be angels here, baby, angels here. Ooh. I drew a map. I drew a map.
Very cool. So I thought I heard cello in there at one point, but there's no cello credited on the album. This is one of the three songs that they recorded after Rick
Right.
passed away, and I think uh, John's son Will is credited as playing acoustic bass on here. I'm very curious if he actually bowed the bass. I know sometimes um, people will do that. Will take a violin bow and
Right,
bow the
right.
strings, so it'll have that stringy kind of sound. But to me, it sounds like a cello kind of sound, which
Yeah.
I actually love. And I really like the sound of the tone of the solo. It's got a very warm, clean sound. And Vicky, So
Is there anything this woman can't do?
we haven't found anything.
Jeez. You know, I think I'm always in awe of her talent, because every time I think I know what she's going to do, she does something different. And she's got this wide variety of influences. And this song really brings it down. And we just highlight her voice and her songwriting.
Good point. Yeah,
It's a really gorgeous song.
it is.
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
All right. Our last
So,
song.
Last pick is the last track. Okay. So we started out with you leading off, and we're gonna end it with me. And yeah, somehow I always like to fall way, way, way down, if not at the last track, bonus tracks. So this song is called The Land of Dreams. And let's listen first, and then I'll add a few things at the end. This is a song written, the music and lyrics is by Bill Mooney.
You said I would, and you were right most all the time, but not quite. You missed the mark along the way. You lit the spark, and it burns today. I'll see you in the land of dreams. I'll see you in the land of dreams.
Look overhead, what do you see? Under the bed, up in the tree, the camera's on, there's no place to hide. The damage is done in the river's wide. See you in the land of dreams. I'll see you in the land of dreams. There's nothing I would rather do than dream my life away with you. There's nothing I would rather do than dream my life away with you.
The ground is soft from all the rain, but the sun will come, so don't complain. We're flesh and bone. What can we do when we're alone? Baby, I want you. See you in the land of dreams. See you in the land of dreams. There's nothing I would rather do than dream my life away with you. There's nothing I would rather do than dream my life away with you. We're not the first, we're not the last, and I've tried so hard to forget the past. How many times can this repeat? The road is long until we meet. I'll see land of dreams. I'll see you in the land of dreams. I'll see you in the land of dreams. I'll see you in the land of dreams.
Super vibey.
Ooh, and there's that Canyon Rock feel, that Laurel Canyon vibe. Um, what's absolutely hypnotizing about this song is that alternating vocals, all three of them. And, so they all get a voice, they all add to the story. And then it's like, I like that pickup on the drum. And then you hear that acoustic bass in the background. It's got this really, vibe. I don't know how to describe it. It's like kind of chilling, because it's also, then you hear like another influence. So we've had like acoustic, we've had a rock vibe, there's rock in there's pop and then there's songs that have this country vibe, that canyon rock sort of vibe. Really cool song. And those harmonies, see you in the land of dreams. It's, they're taking you away from here and they're moving you somewhere else. Those voices are really powerful together.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you said hypnotic. That definitely describes that feel. And from a music standpoint, I really like the tremolo that's on the guitar. It's got that little vibrato on the guitar. And then, like you said, with the drums, and they got the brushes that are just
because it's like a heartbeat, right? And I kept waiting, as you listen to the songs, you keep waiting for the tempo to change. And it just doesn't. And so you're in suspense. It's like anxiousness, but eased with this, see you in the land of dreams. And then it just tapers off and the album ends. I really like this track a lot.
Yeah.
Just different. And I think with the 4 that we've chosen, show a really broad picture of what this band does. And they throw a lot in here. And I think it's done pretty well. And you like track placement. I think how the album progresses is pretty nicely put together.
Yeah, I was gonna say that specifically about the land of dreams, how it feels like it's a soft landing.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, because mainstream starts off so up.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of energy, and then it just
Yeah.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah, definitely an album worth checking out.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And this isn't the only one they have.
Yeah, so the second one, I think when we talked to Vicky, they decided to it was their COVID album.
Right.
It didn't start off being that way, but it ended
Right.
up being that way. So a lot of their second album is about um, the environment that we're still in now, and they released that digitally only. On this one, Angels Here, you can find it on CD as well, but
Right.
also digitally everywhere. It's available.
Anywhere you stream your music or download your music,
As they say, yes. So
just please remember the artists and let them have a majority of your very hard-earned money.
yes, yeah, absolutely. We definitely support the artists, and
100%.
that's why we're here to
Yeah.
talk about and support artists that we love. So last week we had Lewis. This week we had Vicky. So next week we're going to be talking something Dream Syndicate or Rain Parade related. So
Lay your bets down now, folks. Let's see if you guess which way we're gonna go.
yeah, so a guitarist from one of those albums, and between the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll be addressing both of those. So some guitarists from one of those bands and one of their side projects. So
Put your think caps on, folks.
lay your money down.
Lay your money down.
Especially those of you who made money by guessing that I would do the lead off track. So you have a little bit to spare on your bet.
Oh my God, let it ride. Let it ride. Gotta let it ride.
Let it ride. All right.
All right, Jeff. So, mi gente, a grubiar.
Groove on, Paisley people.
So we sang until the early hours of the morning,
Yes.
and we said, yeah, we should check this out with some original material.
Yeah.
And I started...
Cue Bill.
I started writing tunes. I couldn't help it. They just
Yeah.
kept flowing, and I was making these little iTunes videos with the guitar so that, they would see the chords and stuff. And I probably sent them 20 songs.
In
a
his
week.
bathrobe. We
30.
call it
In a
the
week.
bathrobe series. It would be first thing in the morning out of bed. This guy'd be leaning over at the bad angle of the iPhone. And we were like, I was so excited because the songs were really good. I said, well, who is this guy in the bathrobe? And Bill Mummy, and he was a floodgate of music,
Yeah.
of
You guys,
songs.
the thought of making music together
God, it was
really
amazing.
inspired me, and I was writing in a different way than what I would usually write for like solo stuff.
Right.
And what was interesting to me, I don't know, what was interesting to me was that the songs lent themselves to having the verses divvied up vocally,
Yeah.
which is something that you don't hear a lot of.
Yeah.
The
Don't hear a
Bangles
lot
have
of
done
it.
it,
We-
and
yeah,
the
we
band
did
did
it.
it a little bit. Kingston Trio did it a lot.
Crosby, Stills,
Yeah.
Nash.
No,
But
they
we
done
No,
it.
you're right. They
haven't
were
really
kind
done
of. You're right. They stuck to their own.
No,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
but he's right, and he just kept writing songs that accommodated everybody's voice.
And
It
these
was-
guys made them better and finished them and tweaked them and rewrote them, and we made a
We
record.
started recording.
we did.
And it fell together pretty organically because the three of us had kind of committed to seeing where it might go. And then like 4 days later, I was at a gig with Rick
Yeah.
Rosas. And Rick was like, I said that we were making music together. And he was like, do you need a bass player? And I was like,
He
Actually.
loved
okay,
Yes.
right. Thank you, universe. And I thought maybe that it could have been a show busy kind of let's do lunch that didn't happen. And he texted, we exchanged numbers, and he texted me that night after the gig at about 1:30 in the morning saying, I really want to do this. And so we cut 8 songs with Rick. And it was over the course of 4 or 5 sessions in between John's Beach Boy touring and Vicky's bangling, and I made a film, and we were all kind of, and Rick was doing Crazy Horse. He had to step in for Crazy Horse in Europe. And then he did Meryl Streep's film, Ricky and the Flash. And it was about a year to get those 8 basic tracks done. But it was so much fun because we were really in the room together. It was live. It
Yeah,
was,
we did basic tracks, 4-piece, lot leakage, be damned, as Bill
Leakage,
says.
And then Rick passed away suddenly, and everything stopped. You know, it just put the project in suspended animation for a while, and everybody went on to their own individual projects. And after a hiatus away from it, we started listening to those tracks again. And I think we all felt, wow, I mean, this is worthy of finishing, not only for us, but for Rick. And so we polished it up, added another 3 tunes, and
Voila.
now we're sharing it with the world.